8 years ago, we took our first big trip as a family to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. That's when we set the goal to visit all 50 states before our oldest son graduated. Here is the final chapter of our mission. One of the first things we did when we got to Alaska, besides eating at Airport Way Restaurant, which we do not recommend by the way, it was not one of our favorite Alaskan experiences to say the least, was to visit the North Pole. It's a small Alaskan city about 15 minutes southeast of Fairbanks. It has a population of about 2,000 elves. It is famous for its year-round Christmas decorations, and it's home to the Santa Claus House. The Santa Claus House was the best part about North Pole, Alaska. You can actually mail your Santa letters there, and Santa sometimes sends kids a return letter stamped with Santa's official mail seal. It is also home to the Reindeer Academy, where Santa keeps his reindeer when they are not working. It was the coolest Christmas store I've ever been to, and I did manage to steal a kiss from Mrs. Claus there. The kids liked this quirky, laid-back stop, and the whole family had fun with it. If you are ever in Fairbanks, you should definitely check it out. Thanks to the rental car shortage, for our next stop, we had to take a quick 350-mile flight down to Anchorage. But we made the most of our detour. First, we took a visit to Earthquake Park. I thought it was called Earthquake Park because as the planes came into land, they flew so close to you that they shook the ground. You could really feel their power. Sadly though, this park is there to commemorate the most powerful earthquake America has ever seen. On Good Friday, 1964, at 9.2 on the Richter scale, this quake lasted 4 minutes. At least 115 people died and an entire neighborhood slid into the ocean near what is today known as Earthquake Park. Before leaving Anchorage, we made a quick stop by the Alaska Public Land Center. It is ran by the National Park Service and, we're kind of nerds. We needed to grab our cancellation stamps for our quest to visit all national park sites. We also let the boys do the Junior Ranger program and get their badges at all the national park sites. They hate taking the pledge at the end, but me and Miley kind of think it's hilarious.
Never ever feed the bears.
Now with our rental car finally in hand, something I wanted to do that the rest of the family wasn't nearly as excited about was make the 850-mile trip from Anchorage up to Dead Horse, which is the furthest north point you can drive to. To do this, we had to drive back up through Fairbanks near the North Pole and get to the start of the Dalton Highway.
Are y'all done shitting your pants?
It's a great belly.
I am.
We finally made it to the Dalton Highway. Now only 414 more miles to Dead Horse.
So we're mainly going to be driving at night on this gravel road, Dad?
Yeah, night/light. Huh. Pretty funny, huh? Some pretty mountains. We're strolling down the Dalton Highway. It is 12:08 a.m.
The Yukon River, 60 miles from the Arctic Circle.
60 miles from the Arctic Circle, and it's 1 a.m. And this is what these goobers are doing. There's Fierce right there, and River's back there somewhere. Oh, and the bridge is what's really cool. This big old wood bridge that Miley doesn't like. And there's a truck down there. First vehicle we've seen in like 150 miles maybe. Maybe they're camping or something.
And this is the Alaska Pipeline. The Alaska Pipeline is 800 miles long and conveys oil from Prudhoe Bay south to Valdez.
Just past Coldfoot, Alaska. And these clouds are pretty cool here. Looks like dry ice oozing out. Say hi. Tell them the time. Oh, it's 4:25 a.m. We wanted to get breakfast from the store back there, but they didn't start serving breakfast till 5, so we had to settle with Cheetos and cookies. But we will not cry about it. Oh, Dalton Highway completed in 1974. What? And we have Oil Slick Hill here. Big old hill made of mud. It says, do not stop once you start going, because you might slide backwards down the hill. We're supposed to have a CB radio to make sure everybody knows you're coming, because I guess it's pretty tight quarters, but unfortunately we don't have a CB radio. And we haven't had cell phone service since Fairbanks. Did y'all know the Dalton Highway was the featured road on 4 seasons of the Ice Road Truckers?
Really?
They say some of the mountains around us stand up to 7,000 feet tall.
You really have to make sure you're full on gas, because the only gas is at the Yukon Bridge, Coldfoot, and Dead Horse. Coldfoot has a population of 34, and Dead Horse has a population of 25, so it's pretty desolate out here. I can see why they call it Dead Horse. After 23 hours in the car, we were all pretty dead. It was a very bittersweet moment, because now we had to turn around and do it all over again. Do you see all of their fake smiles? They were not happy campers. But just 15 more hours back down near Fairbanks, which is where our roadhouse was that we were spending the next evening. On the way back down, we stopped at the Arctic Interagency Visitor Center and finally got a warm meal in Coldfoot. Since everyone was finally awake, we also stopped for some family photos at the Arctic Circle sign. Me and Mama shared the driving duties on this 38-hour expedition. We definitely saw some interesting things along the way, like this cute little moose drinking from a pond. The next day, we found a $5 fundraiser car wash that the local track team was putting on. While washing our car, they actually found a dead bird stuck to it. It was pretty hysterical. I think they hated us, but we definitely got our money's worth. Now, we had one day in Alaska without stuff planned. Me and Miley were going to lounge around the Roadhouse and rest up while the boys went fishing in this little stream out back. River decided we didn't need a free day. He found us something to do. He was trying to open his fishing reel with an ulu knife that they had given us at a gift shop. This was apparently not the proper use for this tool, and River nearly cut his finger off. So, we spent all day at the Fairbanks ER waiting for the emergency surgeon to come sew River's tendons back together.
So you're the toughest of them all, huh?
Yes. Oh great, now it's on video.
Yeah.
Now they're gonna be like, oh, River's your favorite. You think he's the toughest.
With River all fixed up, next on the list, Denali National Park. Denali National Park is pretty much right in between Fairbanks and Anchorage. The park road will lead you from the visitor center to Denali National Park. We took the Alaskan excursion tour. You get on a green transit bus. It's an 8 to 9 hour round trip. It's only 66 miles long, and the turnaround point is the Alaskan Visitor Center, where you stop for lunch. The pretty purple flowers behind the pretty Miley are called fireweed. It's a very common Alaskan flower and can be consumed with or without being cooked. There were several willow ptarmigan along the way, the state bird of Alaska. Now, Denali truly is a spectacular sight. It's so big that it creates its own weather. During the summer, it is only visible 30% of the time. July is your best chance to catch a peek at this majestic mountain. We were very lucky to see it on our first try. There was a couple from Texas on our bus who had traveled to Alaska on 3 separate occasions. I guess the third time was a charm, and they were finally able to see the true beauty of the tallest mountain in North America.
Yeah, right at the tip of that tree, blowing in the wind.
We saw lots of wildlife on our tour, including our first bear sighting in Alaska. Wow, good picture. Where are my glasses? We saw several caribou throughout the park and all over Alaska, or as Santa likes to call them, reindeer. This little fella loved using the roads and bridges, but he wasn't quite sure what to think when his hooves hit the concrete. Our best view of Denali came from the Eielson Visitor Center while we ate our picnic lunch with this friendly little ground squirrel.
Hi, little buddy. Checked out the ladies.
Back to the bus. The first stop on our journey back was at the Toklat Contact Station. The Toklat River is a braided river, which means it has a network of branches that form the channel. Some of the roads in the park were very sketchy. They were barely wide enough for one bus. Our driver mentioned that some of the narrow ledges might not make it much longer. Was that about our 10th Grizzly today, River?
Yeah.
Not open.
Oh, wow.
I think I did.
Digging for a grab.
This bear put on quite a show. He even joined us on the road for a while.
Well, that was too much work. I'm gonna walk again. He's like, what was that? Doesn't taste good. Hi, buddy.
Denali National Park has had a unit of canine rangers for nearly its entire history. One of our last stops was at the kennels where they keep the sled dogs. It was a long and tiring day, but the breathtaking views and the wildlife along the way made it all worth it. We took a commercial plane from Anchorage to King Salmon, but the only way to get from King Salmon to Katmai National Park or Brooks Falls is to take a taxi down here to the river and get on a float plane, which we did. And they flew us all the way out to Brooks Falls, where we landed right on the water near the falls. Whew, a safe landing. The first thing we did at Brooks Falls was attend a mandatory bear training. The trails were made for humans, but like anyone, the bears prefer the easiest path. So visitors have to be very aware of the bears and share the trails. Luckily, the bears stay full from the abundance of salmon, so the bears of Brooks Falls don't have many conflicts with humans. But if you caught one off guard or he was agitated and decided to attack, there wouldn't be much you could do. Finally, our first glimpse of the falls. We couldn't believe what our eyes were seeing. It was even better than we imagined. We counted 100 bears fishing near the falls. Successfully catching a salmon in midair takes a lot of strength and talent. Imagine catching a bag of flour with your mouth.
Oh, y'all missed him get one. I got a big one over there. Yeah, he's going walking away. Oh, dang, I got that one, I think. Good job. Rumble bear. Well, we did it. We got to see bears catch salmon. Oh, nice try, buddy. Should have dove for it.
These two must be River and Fierce, and that one over there that can catch him.
Oh, he got him. In the water. The grizzlies are fighting down there, look. Rawr. Oh, what a snag. That was quick. somehow.
The one on the rocks is chilling.
Oh my god. What bear is that?
Looks like an elephant.
No, a hippo or something. Huge.
Mystery solved. This is 747, the two-time Fat Bear champion, also known as Bear Force One.
This is Grazer with her twin cubs. She is a very protective mama bear. Oh, is this little baby gonna go and try to bow up at this big one?
Yeah, mama. I might go help over here. Fine, I'll go around. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
The boys wanted to catch a salmon, so they used their own money to rent fishing gear.
She's that way. She's that way. She's that way.
Oh, she's helping her. What a good mommy. All those fish, teasing them.
After the baby and mama bear had moved on, there was another bear very interested in what the boys were doing.
Too fast, Chase. There's a big red one right over here. There you go.
Mom,
They've
just got
caught
the fish.
2 the whole time. This would be 3 if he lands it. What, was it worth paying the money? You gonna get that fish reeled in, Nancy? You gonna boat flip him?
Jace may have lost this one, but was lucky enough to get another chance. River, on the other hand, wasn't so lucky. He was frustrated. Fierce caught a couple though, including this giant rainbow trout. But while posing for this picture, his trophy fish caught the eye of a hungry bear.
He's real close.
Fierce fumbled the slippery fish, and I barely had time to snap one picture before it slipped out of his hands again. That's when he decided it was time to go, and he was out of there. They left behind his glasses, his fishing pole, and River's phone, and they had to wait it out while the bear finished his snack.
Where's your pole?
Over there, under there. What if he stuck on it?
I'll see y'all at the lodge.
You're leaving?
I'm not getting back towards Ferry, the Buffy Slayer. Fish don't run. At least I don't smell like salmon.
After Katmai, we flew back to Anchorage and then headed south to Seward, destination Kenai Fjords National Park. It was a 120-mile, 2.5-hour drive from Anchorage to Seward. One of the best ways to view Kenai Fjords National Park and the Humpback Glacier is to board a cruise ship. We booked our trip with Major Marine. It was a 6-hour tour filled with non-stop action, including spectacular views, whales, and tons of other wildlife that call the Gulf of Alaska home. Our ship was called the Spirit of Adventure. It was captained by an Oklahoma transplant who now calls Alaska home. Right as we left the dock, 2 eagles right next to the boat. The bald eagle is Alaska's largest bird of prey with a wingspan of up to 8 feet. Bald eagles are only found in North America, and there are more in Alaska than in any other state. This magnificent bird has been a national emblem of the United States since 1782 and has been a spiritual symbol for Alaska natives for much longer.
Oh yeah, he took the phone out. All right. Run the boat, everybody. This is going to be a great sighting. There they are, right hand side. Wow.
Oh, that's the whale. Wow. Oh, wow.
Well, these humpback whales can get just over 50 feet in length and between 45 and 50 tons in weight. They have the largest muscle in the animal kingdom called the peduncle muscle. It's located directly above their tail flukes and it controls the lower half of their body. It only takes 2 to 3 stripes of this massive tail of these animals to get this 40 plus ton animal completely airborne. What about guys? Little white wings under the water there. Like I said, those are like 12 fins, those white long patches. The 12 fins. That's your tail. That's more like it. She knows about those. They're very large, mature bull.
In addition to the orcas and humpbacks, we saw harbor seals and tons of sea lions. Our turnaround point was the Whole Gate Glacier. It is a tidewater and mountain glacier and is one of the smaller glaciers in the Harding ice field. One of the coolest parts of the tour were the glacieritas. The crew actually scooped up a piece of floating ice from the glacier and we got to watch as they chiseled it away to make margaritas. Virgin margaritas for the kids, of course. For day 2 of Seward, we went back out on the water to catch some salmon. Seen, Jace.
I know. Oh, that's what it's getting.
Start reeling, start reeling.
Good job.
There's that in one.
Got him, good job, Pierce. Oh no.
But I think we snagged him in the foot, and usually you get him in the mouth.
The puffin died.
Here.
This puffin dove down after my bait and accidentally got hooked in the foot. Cool.
I want to touch
Look at his cool eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sure don't look very friendly. No.
I want to pet him. I want to feel his fur. Oh, it's too bad. Oh, yeah, the little winder. But I'll catch him.
Yeah, he the ulu knife and he cut right here and he sliced all the way through his tendon and severed his tendon. And one day we ended up before they stitched his skin back up. I think you got a king in there.
Right before we left Seward, River had a buzzer beater, or as we like to say, pulled a rabbit out of the hat. The biggest fish of our trip, a giant king salmon. On the road again. Next, we headed to Homer. Oh! On the way, we stopped for a short hike to the Russian River Falls. Wow, look at all those salmon. No wonder it was packed with local fishermen. A good spot to stock up for the winter. We stopped at the Russian River because it was recommended by one of my noodling clients and a local fly fisherman. It was a perfect 5-mile hike to stretch our legs and break up our 4-hour drive from Seward to Homer. Homer, the halibut fishing capital of the world. We drove America's most westerly highway to the end of the Homer Spit, where we grabbed dinner at the Harbor Grill. I ordered the king crab, which was $100 a pound. Does this one crab claw look worth it? I'm not sure, but it was delicious. Back on the road. We're headed back to Anchorage for our next flight. Utqiagvik. We're on top of the world in the land of the midnight sun. We arrived in Barrow with 2 quests we were hoping to conquer. Take the polar plunge and see the northernmost point in America. Immediately outside of the Wiley Post Will Rogers Memorial Airport in Barrow stands a monument to commemorate Post and Rogers. Will Rogers was born on the Dog Iron Ranch in the Cherokee Nation near present-day Beluga, Oklahoma. He was an aviation advocate and a famed actor. You can still find his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He was on an adventure with fellow Oklahoman Wiley Post, the first pilot to fly solo around the world. On August 15, 1935, just after takeoff, 20 miles southwest of Point Barrow, their plane, piloted by Post, suffered engine failure at a low altitude. The aircraft crashed in a shallow lagoon, killing both men instantly. After settling in at the Top of the World Hotel, we went on a field trip and took the half-a-mile walk to the Inupiat Heritage Center. We wanted to learn more about the native people who call this place home. Utqiagvik has been home to the Inupiat for more than 1,500 years. The Inupiat people are hunters and gatherers. They continue to rely on subsistence hunting and fishing. They still harvest walrus, whale, seal, and polar bears. Alaskan natives are the only group in the U.S. legally allowed to hunt polar bears, thanks to an exemption from the Marine Mammal Protection Act. On our walk back, we were stopped by a local driving a beautiful blue Ford Raptor. He rolled down his window and chuckled. "You guys aren't from around here, eh?" We told him, "Nope, visiting from Oklahoma." He said, "Dang it, I'm an Alabama fan, but I guess it's okay," and introduced himself as Forrest. He said he didn't want us to remember his home this way. He told us to meet him in front of the Top of the World Hotel at 7. He would show us what we came to see. Now this sounded like an amazing offer, but we were the farthest away from home we had ever been, being offered a ride by a stranger in a place where it would be easy to disappear. After talking a bit with Miley, we decided what the heck, you only live once. So we headed down to the hotel lobby where we anxiously kept an eye out for the blue Ford Raptor. Normally, the only way to see Point Barrow is by hiring a local to take you on ATV. We had no idea how to go about doing this, and we're very thankful we crossed paths with Forrest. We offered him money afterwards, but he wouldn't accept it. He was a genuinely nice guy with a love for the place he calls home.
What kind of bowhead whale? And that's different than a beluga?
Very different. The beluga has teeth. Bowhead has filters. The baleen is the... What's that? What's that?
Do you see whales in Ellison Bay?
There he is right there. He came out in blue back there or something.
They were white. I seen 2 of them.
How cool.
We saw some belugas from the spit, but unfortunately we weren't able to get any of them on camera.
There's one over there. He just surfaced right over there, dude.
Forrest, if you're watching this, thanks again.
Roger color ones are the baby. Arctic tern.
I've never gotten that picture.
You never have?
Never have.
Wow. I can send you one.
Every time on this coast, it flies.
Hold on, let me go first here. So I can get a good picture.
The Arctic tern has the longest migration known in the animal kingdom. They travel more than 44,000 miles on their annual round trip to the Antarctic coast before returning to their northern breeding grounds.
The waves are huge, huh?
That's what I was video on. Dang, man.
We touched the northernmost point. Mission 1 complete. Time for the polar bear plunge. The ice had just melted, but there were still a few chunks of ice on the beach. It was 37 degrees that day with the wind chill below freezing. The Arctic Ocean was a frigid 27 degrees. Brr! Who's ready?
Yes. Don't go out that far, Fierce. I'm going to do the polar dip, not the plunge, because I'm too chicken. Oh my goodness, it's gonna be so cold, I just know it. Here it comes. Arctic Ocean. It's cold. Ready? Now.
Back at the Top of the World Hotel, we showed the lady at the front desk video proof of us fully submerging in the Arctic Ocean. We were then awarded these cool certificates. After flying back to Anchorage, we jotted over to Whittier. The only way to drive to Whittier is through North America's longest vehicle tunnel, a 2.5-mile tunnel cutting through Maynard Mountain. It is a one-way tunnel that you have to share with two-way traffic, including trains. They let vehicles pass through the tunnel and into Whittier once every hour from 5:30 a.m. till 10:30 p.m. It's a very unique experience. You have to straddle the railroad tracks while you navigate through the tunnel. Another neat thing we liked about Whittier was the pedestrian tunnel from the hotel to the waterfront. Whittier began as a strategically placed U.S. Army base. It is an ice-free, deep-water port connecting Prince William Sound with Anchorage and the interior of Alaska. In 1942, it became the entrance for U.S. soldiers arriving in the territory. Whittier was by far the most beautiful city on our trip. Every direction we turned was a breathtaking view. Whittier is known as the town under one roof, since most of its 273 residents live in Begich Towers, a 14-story apartment building. Whittier is a popular destination for hikers, hunters, and photographers, thanks to its unique combination of wildlife and natural beauty. We also enjoyed the Whittier Creek Trail. It is a path that follows Whittier Creek from the railroad crossing to the waterfall. It is right in the middle of town, but the lush greenery makes you feel like you're far from civilization. So long, Whittier. Just outside of Whittier, we stopped at the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center. It is a sanctuary for indigenous animals in need. One of the rescued animals there was Adonis, an eagle who had lost his left wing from a gunshot wound. We also met this cute porcupine.
I touched a porcupine. Nope.
Oh, I got him. Oh, I touched him.
See all of his quills are on his butt end.
Look at his teeth, they're orange.
Chase, what is your favorite part of the trip?
Katmai National Park.
Why?
Because of all the grizzly bears, and I caught my first salmon there.
Dad, what was your favorite part?
I like seeing all the grizzlies there at Katmai too,
And I also like going to Barrow and taking the polar plunge.
River?
I loved Seward, but I still gotta say Katmai because of all the bears. But Seward, I caught a lot of salmon.
Caught a lot of stuff.
Yours?
Katmai,
Why?
because the bears and because all the grizzly bears and the salmon and
They were coastal
the trout.
bears.
What was your least favorite part?
Hands down, 100% sure, without a doubt,
Dalton Highway.
My least favorite part was the Super 8 and not being able to have anything to drink, and then being sick part of the trip.
The Dalton Highway, sitting in the car.
The Dalton Highway was worse than slicing your thumb open?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, this is fixed.
The Dalton Highway damaged your paper.
Dalton Highway. Yeah, the Dalton Highway damages your brain.
I can't believe none of you said airport weight.
Oh, airport. Wait, yeah.
I would
Yeah.
live at airport if I was to not.
Like where you
I would personally endorse airport way before I go back on the Dall Highway. So, Mom, what was your favorite part?
My favorite part was being on an Alaskan adventure with my family.
Oh my God, that's such a lie.
Yeah.
You don't like us?
Why?
And what's your least favorite part? Being on an Alaskan adventure with your family?
My least favorite part was River cutting his thumb and Dad being sick.
What about me? I threw up all over the place.
Our last night was spent in Delta Junction, where we reached one last milestone. This official certificate certified that the Williams family has reached the end of the Alaska Highway at Delta Junction. We spent 14 days exploring America's last frontier. Our expedition consisted of 12 flights covering nearly 10,000 air miles, 3,000 plus highway miles, 2 boat rides, and endless miles of memories. Our journey took us to the northernmost point and the most westernly highway point. We have now been to the furthest north, east, south, and west points navigable by vehicle. We canceled 11 national park stamps off the list along the way. We conquered the Alaska, Denali, and Dalton Highways.
We plunged into the Arctic Ocean
And gazed upon America's tallest mountain.
We caught a glimpse of the northern lights.
And we felt like Marty Stouffer from Wild America as we found ourselves surrounded by 100 bears.
I know this is primarily a fishing channel, but if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more content like this, please leave a comment to let us know. If you're not already doing so, please subscribe and we will see you on our next adventure.